Hello, and in this video I'll be showing how to install Visual Studio Code, which is a text editor, and this is where you'll be writing all those codes, all those many lines of codes. I'll also show you how to install Git Bash, which is a version control, and this helps you launch the website that you're building, the React applications that you're building on the Visual Studio Code. It will help us to put it into production or into a development server. And I'll also be showing how to install a few extensions for Visual Studio Code, which will help you write code better and in a very structured manner. So let's first install Visual Studio Code download. So Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code are two different things. So you'll have to download Visual Studio Code and not Visual Studio. So let's go to the first link here, and I will be downloading it into my Windows computer. And if you have Ubuntu or Linux, you'll have to download this, and if it is a Mac, you'll have to install this. So I'm going to click on this, and that's it. So it'll install on its own. You just have to wait till it finishes. Okay, so after it's installed, you just have to click on this, accept the agreement, and you just have to go on clicking next. If you want to create a desktop icon, you can do that. Next, install, and that's it. So your Visual Studio Code gets installed, and as soon as it's done, you'll have to open it, and we'll start working right after it opens. So next, let's go to Git. It's just simple plain Git. So here, just go to downloads, or you can just click here. Download 2.27.0 for Windows. You can do it for Mac OS or Linux. I'm doing it for Windows because I have a Windows computer. We'll have to wait till this finishes and then click on this and install the Git Bash. Alright, so once it has been downloaded, let's install this. Just click next. So I want on my desktop, so that's next. Alright, so just go on clicking next. So everything's fine. Don't make any changes. So just install it, and once it has been installed, I'll open up Git and show everything. I also forgot to mention about npm. We'll also be downloading npm, that's Node Package Manager as well. Alright, so this is done as well, and I'm not going to launch Git Bash just yet. Let's download npm and then I'll show everything together. So just say next. So to install npm, just say node.js download. Alright, and this is the link, that is nodejs.org and nodejs.org/en/download, and that will be your link. So you can download for Mac, you can download for Windows, and for Linux as well. Right here, mine is Windows, so I'm going to install for Node for Windows. So once it's done, so click that, you get this, and just say next. I accept the terms and license agreement, and next. Don't make any changes, just install it. So once it has been installed successfully, just say finish. Now I am going to close Google Chrome and I'm going to open Git Bash. Okay, so now here I want to check the version of Node which I have installed, and I want to see if Node has been installed. So for that, you'll have to type node /v, node -v, and when you do that, you will get the version of the npm package you've installed, that is Node Package Manager. So you can see that it's 12.18.1. Maybe when you're watching this video, the version might be a new one, but that won't matter, so don't worry about it. They keep updating and they keep releasing one of the latest versions each time they release a new version, so it's alright if you are using a different version. Alright, so that's Git here, and I'm going to use terminal in Visual Studio Code, and I won't be using it here, but there are a few basic things which you need to know, that is CD, and I hope you know all of this, CD and ls and all those kind of things. So as we go on, I'll teach you more about it. So for now, let's just close. Alright, so now I want you to open Visual Studio Code, and here in Visual Studio Code you can see that you have your new file. You can open a folder, you can add workspace to folder. This is your basic welcome page. I will show you how to create a folder here. I'll show you how to create a folder and then open that folder and start coding. But first, I'm going to show you the thing about the advantage of Visual Studio Code is that the terminal comes inbuilt, or else you will have to, if you're using a different text editor like Sublime Text or Atom. I think Atom has an extension for inbuilt terminal, but if you're using some other text editor, you can always go to Git and use the version control. You can use Git here, but I'm going to use terminal, the inbuilt terminal which comes in Visual Studio Code. I'm just going to say new terminal, and you might have a different thing. So go down here, select default shell. I hope you can see this. So you can select default shell and say git bash, and that's the reason I have downloaded Git, because I want to use Git. And a lot of companies do ask if you know any version control softwares, that is, for example, Git is a version control, and a lot of companies do ask if you know Git, and they also do ask if you know how to use GitHub and Git together. So it's always good to do that, and I'll open that. So it should say bash. Alright, and here it shows you which directory you're in, and later I'll show you, you'll have to open your directory, and when you open your directory and start the terminal, it opens in that particular directory itself. And now I'm going to show you how to install some extensions for Visual Studio Code, and these help you structure your code well, and it also helps you to code. So the first one I want you to download would be, or install would be, BRACKET, bracket, right? I think you can see the first one here, bracket pair colorizer. Alright, so that will be the first one sometimes, but it might be somewhere else. So bracket pair colorizer, I hope you can see this. I want you to install this. Okay, so this extension is enabled globally. Now also I want you to install something called Babel JavaScript, like that. So install that, and then comes JavaScript code snippets. Install JavaScript ES6 code snippets, and then the last and the final one would be Prettier. It structures your code, so however you write it, in the end when you save it, it structures on its own automatically, so it's automated. So install Prettier code formatter. that would be it with the extensions, and this is your overall, this is all you have to download and install for you to start your React app. We'll also be using a starter app, which makes it much faster and easier for you to create a React application. And that's about it for this video, and in the next video I will show you how to create your first React app.